As I stand here tonight welcoming our friends and family, it's an opportunity for me to confess publicly.
Oh, baby.
It's you, baby, and you alone.
My husband, I'm just thinking about my husband.
To the man of my life, to the king of my dreams and the mate of my soul.
Do you think he still wants to be married to you?
No, I don't. But I know this. If I have to go to war, I will go to war. Once you get to that headspace, it's not going to be easy to pull me back. You got to get out.
Welcome back to Celebrity News Addict. Today, we're taking a deep dive into all the latest news surrounding Dorit and PK's divorce since Dorit filed on April 25th, 2025. With headlines rolling in every day, in this video, we'll be getting into it all, including all the latest details about Dorit's filing, what is included in PK's counter-filing, the financial troubles that continue to stack up against the couple as Dorit's LLC faces suspension from the Franchise Tax Board, and what this means for their divorce and the future of their $8 million home. Plus, we'll get into all the fallout of the divorce announcement as Lisa Vanderpump, Camille and Erika Jayne weigh in, and go over all the rumours surrounding the future of RHOBH, with only one housewife set to attend BravoCon 2025 in November. From tax troubles to custody battles, we've got all the latest information on Dorit and PK's messy marriage. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with a brief recap of how Dorit and PK's once perfect relationship has ended up in this mess, before getting into the latest news. I've done a full deep dive into this, which I'll also link below if you want to go back and remind yourself of all of the details. And feel free to skip ahead if you're already up to date. I'll leave the timestamp on the screen. So, to summarize where we're at, after meeting in 2011, Dorit and PK were married on March 7th, 2015, and welcomed 2 children into their picture-perfect family of 4, Jagger, now aged 11, and Phoenix, aged 9. Everything seemed to be going well for the loved-up couple as Dorit entered the cast of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in Season 7, which aired at the end of 2016. And Dorit and PK continued to showcase their love for each other over the years. But in October 2021, Dorit was robbed at gunpoint in their home in Encino Hills, while Phoenix and Jagger were home. But PK was away in London on a business trip. This led to Dorit struggling with PTSD and was the first sign the public saw of a rift in their perfect relationship, as Dorit tried to overcome her trauma with very little support from PK or her fellow cast.
You have been through a really traumatic thing, and also you have a lot of fear in you that isn't rational. And there are also elements that I don't consider are PTSD. I consider they're more obnoxious.
I started to feel like, is it possible PK and I would not make it?
Unfortunately, things never quite recovered after this incident, as in 2023, rumours started circling that Dorit and PK were headed for separation. Although they denied these rumours for a while, and even filmed marriage counselling sessions on the show to work through their troubles, the pair couldn't find a route back to each other. So, after celebrating their 9-year wedding anniversary in March 2024, the pair officially announced their separation on Instagram in May 2024. In their public statement, the couple noted that they had had, quote, struggles over the last few years, which they were trying to work through, but they needed time apart to reevaluate the relationship. Pause now to read the full statement. But hope and space to work through their struggles were very short-lived, as more fuel was added to the fire in November 2024 when it was reported that Dorit and PK were in pre-foreclosure on their $8 million home after a notice of default was filed in October, which stated that the pair owed $298,556 after missing more than 4 months of mortgage payments. Undoubtedly, these money struggles were weighing heavily on Dorit long before the public even knew about them, and paired with the PTSD from the break-in, this would have led to a lot of resentment, and likely contributed to the separation and ultimately the divorce. In fact, an insider told Star magazine, quote, "They've missed mortgage payments, and Dorit is freaking out that they'll lose their house," adding, quote, "Dorit is putting blame on PK for mismanaging their finances, and was, quote, mortified that everyone knows the glamorous life they led is a sham, and they're drowning in debt." Although the pre-foreclosure notice was later rescinded just over a month ago on April 9th, after Dorit and PK paid off their missed payments, this pre-foreclosure was only one of the many problems in a string of money troubles, both past, present, and future, as PK had previously owed roughly $2.27 million to the Las Vegas Bellagio Casino, which he paid off in January 2022, and as of 2023, Dorit reportedly faced debts of $90,269 to the IRS, while PK owed a combined total of $986,887 to the IRS and the state of California, which the couple are believed to still be paying off. And with debt still hanging over them, the money troubles just keep on coming, as even more news about their poor financial management and the implications this could have on the future of their home was announced on May 8th, but we'll get into that in a second. So, after a barrage of trauma and financial struggles, PTSD and betrayal, Dorit finally filed a petition for divorce in LA County on Friday, April 25th, after PK was photographed kissing and holding hands with Amazing Race contestant Shana the day before, on Thursday, April 24th. At the time of the filing, a source told Us Weekly that seeing PK's public kiss with Shana was, quote, the last straw that prompted Dorit to file for divorce. The source stated, quote, Dorit and PK had promised each other if they were to see other people, they would not be so public for the children's sake. They added, the divorce was already in the works, and after the photos came out, she was ready to file, emphasizing that, quote, things were already done between PK and Dorit before his public kiss. According to this same source, the public kiss with Shana has made things 10 times more ugly. They stated that Dorit, quote, still cares about him because of the kids and everything they have gone through as a couple. However, after seeing the public kiss, the dynamic seems to have changed. The source explained, quote, they aren't too friendly right now after the photos came out, adding, Dorit feels like it was calculated with the intent to hurt her, and she was hurt. She felt stabbed in the heart. In her filing, Dorit cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for their divorce. She also requested spousal support from PK, which, if granted, could leave him owing Dorit support indefinitely or until she remarries due to the laws in the state of California. On top of this, Dorit also requested sole legal and physical custody of Jagger and Phoenix. This came after she boldly stated in this season of RHOBH, in a moment of frustration, that PK wasn't a good father, wasn't very hands-on, and would, quote, disappear and be gone for weeks and weeks without even calling the kids.
He's a very good father, am I correct?
Wrong.
Well,
I thought you were going to say yes.
I would have ordinarily. Protecting him, I would.
Dorit did later retract this statement on an episode of The After Show, where she claimed that she was wrong for calling PK a bad father.
Do I think PK is a bad father? No, not at all. Do I think he's a good father? Yes, I do. Truly. He's not the most hands-on father. But a good father, there's many different ways to be a good father. And I feel very lucky that my kids have PK as their father.
Then, on Saturday, April 26th, just 2 days after the public kiss and 1 day after Dorit's divorce filing, she was photographed dropping Jagger and Phoenix at a dance studio in LA without her wedding ring. Later that same day, it has been reported that both Dorit and PK were spotted out at Jagger's baseball game. In footage obtained by TMZ, the pair sat separately and didn't even seem to want to look at each other. And despite going back on calling PK a bad dad, caring for the children has clearly been a point of contention for a while, and perhaps one of the many issues the pair were facing that was contributing to their tense separation. And there's definitely going to be more trouble to come surrounding the children as we get into PK's filing and the custody debate. So, Dorit filed for divorce on April 25th, and the pair was spotted in a tense encounter the following day. After this, there was no real news until last Friday, May 9th, exactly 2 weeks after Dorit's filing, when PK filed his response. In his court documents, PK agreed with Dorit and cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for their split. However, this was about the only thing the pair agreed on. In fact, in last week's filing, PK fought back against Dorit's request for sole custody, instead requesting joint custody of Jagger and Phoenix. He also waived his right to spousal support and requested that the court terminate Dorit's request for him to pay her spousal support, insisting that both parties pay their own attorney's fees and legal costs. According to court documents, PK wants to, quote, confirm as separate property the assets and debts in the following list. 1. All earnings and accumulations of respondent from and after the date of separation, including any projects. 2. Miscellaneous jewellery and other personal effects. 3. There are additional separate property, assets and obligations, the exact nature and extent of which are not presently known. And when it comes to the division of assets, it has also been reported that the pair have no prenup in place, meaning neither of them are truly protected, and it's unclear as of yet which way the division of assets and financial support will go. In fact, the day before PK's filing, on May 8th, a source told Life and Style, quote, Dorit has finally found her voice and she isn't backing down, adding, quote, she's ready to go to battle if that's what PK wants. And unfortunately, a battle may be on the cards, as Dorit and PK's money troubles are far from over. Just weeks after getting themselves out of pre-foreclosure by paying off their $300,000 default, and while continuing to pay off the debts owed to the state of California and the IRS, on May 6th, it was reported that Dorit and PK are, quote, on the verge of losing their Encino Hills home once again. According to a new report released by attorney Ronald Richards, Dorit and PK bought their home in 2019 for $6,475,000 under Dorit's LLC called Alden Road, but both of them signed a promissory note to guarantee the mortgage payments. However, now 6 years later, Dorit's LLC has been suspended by the Franchise Tax Board, which is likely an indication of a loan default, most likely on the payments of their home, which, at the reunion, Dorit said she had no idea that PK wasn't paying, despite her name being on the LLC.
Is the house under foreclosure?
No.
Why have there been reports that it is?
Well, there were reports that it was in pre-foreclosure.
Okay.
I had no idea about it. He told me that they changed the rate. He was trying to get a hold of somebody. No one's returning his calls. That's the way he does business. Until they give him his call back, he's not going to pay.
So
And
that's how you lose a house.
he resolved it. Listen, they ended up calling.
On May 5th, attorney Ronald Richards told the US Sun, quote, for the FTB to suspend in the entity, they have not paid taxes or filed returns for a while. He explained that this could mean that the mortgage lender may default the loan if Dorit can't rectify the suspension of her LLC. But in order for Dorit's LLC to be taken out of suspension by the FTB, she and PK will have to get caught up on any back taxes they owe. If they don't, their home will likely fall into foreclosure. But how easy it'll be to get caught up on their debts and unpaid taxes is yet to be seen, as Ronald has also uncovered that due to the impending divorce, Dorit and PK's assets have essentially been frozen. He stated that the Franchise Tax Board choosing to suspend her LLC due to failure to pay taxes could be, quote, a violation of the ATROS, automatic temporary restraining orders, in her divorce, which requires a preservation of assets, and could, quote, start a new round of financial trouble and shows the reckless manner they are managing their assets. He continued, quote, penalties and interest and other consequences are caused by this suspension, including the entity's lack of capacity to go to court. So to recap, Dorit can't pay off her unpaid taxes because her assets are under an automatic restraining order, but her LLC will remain suspended until they pay off the debts, and the suspension of her LLC means that they could lose their home or face even more penalties and financial investigations. Adding to the catastrophic nightmare that this is becoming, both Dorit and PK seem to be taking subtle public jabs at each other and their relationship. If his public kiss with Shana wasn't enough evidence of how casually PK is taking the separation, on May 3rd, PK posted a photo of himself on the phone to his Instagram with the cryptic caption, 57 years in, still becoming, which, to me, seems like he's trying to make light of a very dark and ugly situation. But what do you guys think about this post? Let me know in the comments below. PK's post came perhaps in reaction to both the filing as well as an interview that Dorit did with Rollercoaster magazine for their spring-summer issue back in April, where she opened up about how she's currently feeling as well as her past with PK. To open the interview, reporter Ella West asked how Dorit was feeling, to which she responded, quote, "Oh, this is such a loaded question. The truth, as I am only committed to giving, not the greatest. I'd like to find my way out of it as soon as possible. Unfortunately, with a lot of the things that I have going on personally, it makes it a little challenging. I'm a sensitive person and family means everything to me. And the idea of it being broken and the challenges that I'm facing make it difficult to feel my best. So I'm in the thick of it. But not hopefully, I know that there are brighter days ahead." The interview then turned to talk of the reunion and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills drama. And after a bit of chatting, Dorit opened up about the first fight her and PK ever had, which was over her career. She said, quote, "I didn't put my career on hiatus to be a stay-at-home mother and wife. It was a choice that I made based on an uncomfortable conversation. It was the first fight that PK and I had. PK and I were very codependent. I had my own business, I had my factories in Italy and in Hong Kong, so I had to travel and was selling all over the world. I was also looking to grow it bigger and bigger." She continued, quote, "I looked after PK and I was his right-hand person and confidant and advisor. So it was a decision that I had made. It was either this relationship or this career. And at first, when he had said, one of us needs to give it up, and I think it should be you, I had a really, really strong reaction. I remember I stormed out and I went to go meet a girlfriend. We had only been together for about a year, but it was different. I was engaged twice before PK to two wonderful men, and I didn't go down the aisle. And with PK, after 3 months, I felt like I'd known him my whole life. There was just something very different. It was like two pieces of a puzzle that fit." Dorit concluded, quote, "My heart, my everything, felt like this was my future. It wasn't an easy decision, but ultimately, when you're faced with challenging decisions, you have to really think about what is in your best interest. PK was the choice for me, and to build a life with him. If given the chance, I would make the same choice." She also explained that after a few years of being together, it was PK who encouraged Dorit to join RHOBH. She said, quote, "It was PK that pushed me to do the show. I didn't want to. I didn't want to even interview. We were new to LA. We had moved from Manhattan. I had just had Phoenix. And when he asked me, I said, absolutely not. No effing way. And he said, well, why don't you just meet with them? What's the worst? I'm sure they're not going to offer you the job, but if they do, then we can discuss it. And it was also PK who wanted to separate just before filming this latest season. Dorit said, quote, "When PK wanted to separate just before we started filming and make it public, him and I had spoken about it. I could not go into the season feeling like I had to protect or censor or hide. I needed to be present, feeling whatever I was feeling at whatever moment, and being able to speak directly from my heart without having to even think or measure or worry." And when it comes to publicity and social media subliminals, Dorit's fellow castmates and former housewives have also been quick to publicly speak out about the recent developments in her divorce, with Erika Jayne, LVP, and even Camille Grammer, now Camille Mayer, weighing in with their opinions. Let's take them one by one. So, on April 25th, the day that Dorit filed for her divorce, Erika attended the opening of the Trust Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, where, when asked about the news, she told Us Weekly, quote, "I literally just found out online like everyone else, maybe an hour ago, and obviously I reached out to her," adding, quote, "She's got more important things to do than to talk to me right now." Erika also stated that she feels badly for Dorit, saying, quote, "How does anybody feel when they hear that a family's broken up?" But while Erika is offering support to Dorit despite their struggles, other housewives who have had feuds with Dorit in the past were not quite so comforting. In fact, on an episode of Watch What Happens Live on May 1st, Lisa Vanderpump spoke out against Dorit and in defense of PK. Check this out.
Since you used to be close with PK, what was your reaction to his news about the split with Dorit? Were you surprised?
I actually knew that they'd kind of pretty much separated. I don't think they were being that honest on the show because we have mutual friends.
Right.
I think he was living in a hotel and they were, I mean, not that Dorit, anything fake about her. I mean, like, oh my God, everything. But her saying he's a bad father, that's not okay with me. He's like, he's a good guy.
Yes.
And housewife opinions only got worse from there, as on May 8th, Camille Mayer, forever trying to stay relevant, threw her 2 cents in too. In a post on Instagram, Camille shared a meme of her latest interaction with Dorit on the show, where the two had an all-out battle at Kyle's Denim and Diamonds party. In her post, Camille added the clapback caption using Dorit's iconic line to shade her and poke fun at her divorce and money troubles, writing, quote, "This stupid effing see you next Tuesday isn't in fear of losing her house." And with all eyes on Dorit, Bravo keeps making moves that suggest that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills could be looking for a new cast of replacement wives, maybe putting an end to some of the existing cast's time in the spotlight. On May 6th, Reality Tea released news that after Garcelle's exit, speculation has been rife regarding what next season will look like. One report from the US Sun is claiming that 2 new cast members will be joining Kyle, Sutton, Dorit, Erika, and latest addition, Bose. The report said, quote, "Kyle was the big question mark for the longest time, but she is coming back. Producers offered her a big incentive to come back, so she is." They added, quote, "She's had long talks with production about what she is willing and not willing to show. She knows, basically, she has to step it up next season." The report continued, quote, "She says she's showing as much as she can without hurting those around her, but fans want to see more of her personal life, which includes her dating life. If Kyle does return, and this rumor is true, this will make her the longest reigning Real Housewife, with over 16 seasons under her belt." However, this rumor of returns and new additions is all just speculation right now, and nothing has been officially announced as of yet. But Bravo has recently made a move which has had fans wondering if an entire rebrand may be on the cards for next season, as just a couple of days ago, on May 12th, the lineup for BravoCon 2025 was announced for November 14th to November 16th in Las Vegas. According to the announcements, there is only one Beverly Hills star currently listed among over 60 confirmed Bravo Lebs. One guess on who that might be: Dorit Kemsley. So, with just Dorit set to attend BravoCon at the moment, who knows what the future of RHOBH holds? Maybe Dorit plus a whole new cast? Maybe an entire reset? Or maybe the existing housewives will return with a few new additions. What do you guys think? Who will be returning? Who do you actually want to see come back? From the state of Dorit's finances, it's looking like she'll need to return, but your guess is as good as mine on what happens with her home and where she'll be living. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. That's all the latest updates as of the date of recording on May 14th. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more reality TV news and updates as they happen. Thanks for watching.